daylight here in Alberta. It's 7 in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and it's already pretty dark still. But as you can see, I'm wanting to build a shed for all my bikes. But I thought before I do that, I should show you a bunch of sheds I've already built. I'll show you 3 sheds I built. One about 10 years ago. It's a pretty big one. 16 by 12, I believe. And I'll show you another one that's this size, a 5 by 8. And I'll show you one that's a 4 by 4. All used for different purposes. All turned out really different. And the last one being the craziest. So this is the first shed I built out of the 3 I'm going to show you. Amanda and I built this when we bought this house like 14 years ago. Long time ago. So this thing is still standing. It's got one window. It's got like 8-foot walls. No siding on it. We did plan on siding it. Surprising, but this is a house in town. These trees weren't here when we built the shed. It's kind of a little forest in here. But the shed, you can see it there, I believe sits at 8 feet by 16. Big shed. I put short gables on it, save money, and it's just easier. And you see that is like a 2-foot gable, or 2-foot eaves on it, no trough. Slider window, sliders are the best. The door opens to 6 feet or so, so you can really get into it. We put a loft in it because I wanted extra storage, extra high vaulted ceilings. It was pretty much a workshop for me. Here's the countertops. This is kind of an extra room. Kept like tires and car parts in it. This is the loft area. We cleaned it out already. Can't really see too much, it's dark. Had some shelves set up. Hung up a whole bunch of my old paintings in here. Wasn't enough room in the house. That one's supposed to be in my brother's house. Gave that to him for Christmas. This shed I built a couple years after the big shed. It was built as a studio to do bronzing in, mostly with cuttlefish, acetylene and oxygen. This one has a floor built similar to the first shed. It's 2x6 from a deck reno I did on top of skids. The walls are all 1x6 pine boards. I used some windows, I recycled of course, from another project. And unlike the other one, which was a peak roof, this one is a single slanted roof with a piece of corrugated sheet metal instead of shingles. Now I said I built this as a miniature studio, and that's why there's windows in it, so I could get some extra light, sunlight in there. But these windows are going to come out for the greenhouse I want to build. After I used it as a studio, we moved it out to a friend's place in the country and used it as a hot rock sauna during my BFL tournaments I used to hold once every year. His dad is moving, so we had to move this or get rid of it forever. I said, I'll take it, because a shed is a shed. This one I want to move back underneath this tree and then add another shed to the side of it, probably through that window, using that as a doorway. And then I want to fence this whole part of the yard. I used a bearing cap from a crankshaft for a door handle. And here's a bunch of my junk that needs to get organized. Bikes for that bike shed I was talking about. Here's the hot rock sauna pit. Put the rocks in there. Worked out really well. We lined the walls with plastic to keep it all in. It was a little tall, Like, this roof should probably be another 2 feet lower for a proper sauna, but it worked for us. We could fit about 8 or 10 people in here. It's pretty wild. There's the aluminum roof. Nothing underneath it. You can't go on it, and that's the only problem with a roof like this. But it works. And there's a little Chevy truck dash I had. It hung up in here for fun. And there's some paintings I did way back when. I'm not sure how I want to finish it. Probably just clear coated like the rest of the fence. I just really like how those screws dripped. And this one I screwed together instead of like you'll see on the greenhouse, which was stapled and all the boards are falling off now. Now this shed I'm really proud of. I let myself go wild on this one. This one there was no rules. It's built for a greenhouse, which it worked for 1 year, but I figured it was kind of small. So I'm turning it into a tool shed. This is a 4x4 shed. The floor is the floor is different on this one. It's on a 2x4 wall platform, and then all the boards put on top. This is more of your commonly built sheds. You can see I started adding screws into it because all the boards are falling off, like I mentioned. And the roof is not your average roof. This one's got about 6 different pitches. I built a frame around the window and suspended it in the ceiling, and then built the rest of the roof around it. Doing the shingles was interesting, but not too bad. You just cover the flat parts, and then hopefully it's warm out and you can bend them pretty good. I put this old solar light into it. Labeled it the greenhouse. You can see here this marble glows up really good. Rainbow colors at night. Built this door myself as well. Some glass in it. It's supposed to be a sun glass with mountains. And this doorknob came from my parents' house that I grew up in. Walked in and out of the door every day out of that. I got this painting hanging up here in the sun. I had a customer ask me how well these paintings do in the outdoors, and I had no idea, so I got this one up here as an experiment. You can even see the tag. $100, boom. Now this one's made entirely of pallets, pretty much. I've got a couple pieces of plywood inside as sheeting for the roof that I got from the basement reno I was doing in my own house. Really great color. And all these 2 windows here from a friend Larissa out of Calgary. This window here is from my parents' house. And I did their reno. I think that was from the hallway and the staircase. And then this window was from my buddy Ty and Savannah's house reno that they did a while back. This one opens to vent out the greenhouse. It's a little stuck. You see how that works. I also have a vent down here we can block off. Right out there, I'll have to fill that in with real wood. Right to and that's just where I built the floor to. I'll have the hole in the wall so I can still use this window, which is kind of not useful for much. Here's a painting of a snake. The skulls I built. Now this thing is cool. So this is why it's so cool. That skull is connected to this board, which is the unlock button essentially. This here is the lock. It's holding the door shut. And what this does is keep it locked. Now what happened is this here piece broke out. We'll fix it sometime, but not right now. And then what happens is you kick this piece What is it? There. Kick that piece. See how it moves? And it knocks this out, which in turn pushes it into there, out from underneath the lock. And when you pull the skull, it pushes this down, and the door unlocks. Pretty clever, right? And then, to reset the lock, you pull the rope, which is fed through this hole outside, right? So you pull that rope, pulls the lock up, and it was spring loaded when it was working properly, so that this stick would just fall back into place. Now there's a lot of repairs to be done for this. Oh, and then the rope would be down there, right? And then I had this clock hooked to another end of the rope, and it just pulled the rope back into position, so it wasn't dangling in front of the. So it wasn't dangling in front of the greenhouse. And this is how you opened it. And on that rope I had one of those Dan Aykroyd vodka crystal skull. All those stupid things. Shot glasses? No shot glass, like a Mickey, whatever. You know what I mean. So those are 3 of the sheds I built. The big one is obviously the most useful one, but the little greenhouse was a lot of fun to build. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens with this one. But I ran into some issues, and that's good, because issues add character. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the building of this shed, because it should be pretty cool.